Live from eBay headquarters in San Jose, California, welcome to a special edition of Bloomberg West, Inside eBay. It started as an auction site, but in the nearly 20 years since, eBay has become much more. A massive online marketplace, a major player in online payments through PayPal, even a titan of event tickets. Along the way, the company transformed from scrappy .com upstart to bona fide Silicon Valley leader, bringing in billions annually. And today, Bloomberg West is at the center of it all, inside eBay. Welcome to eBay headquarters in San Jose, California for this special edition of Bloomberg West. I'm Emily Chang. I'm on set with our editor-at-large, Corey Johnson. Our John Ehrlichman is inside at the Commerce and Innovation Center. We're going to be covering it all today, from how eBay has gone from auction house to e-commerce juggernaut. We're going to be talking about their new thing, connected glass on the storefronts, and we're going to be talking about eBay Now, their same-day delivery service. Amazon may have drones. They may be working on drones, but eBay can bring you something in an hour.
Well, you know, this is I love this story because it's such an interesting company. People think eBay is one thing, and it's something very different than it was 10 years ago. And I don't think people understand how very different this business is. So
it's really cold, and I forgot my gloves.
Yeah,
so I'm getting some gloves delivered to us.
If it's inside eBay, how come we're outside and it's 39 degrees in San Jose, California?
Well, you know what? Let's go inside. Let's go to John Ehrlichman. He's at the Commerce and Innovation Center. John, what's that all about?
Yeah, it's a really fun place, quite frankly. I feel like I'm, back at the mall as a teenager. They got the guitar shop here. Although, I got to admit, I don't play guitar like Corey Johnson. But you've got a place where you would obviously traditionally do your shopping, which is created to try to show off some of the technology that eBay has in this whole changing retail space where you now can use something like PayPal or even just your phone or your tablet, a clothing store. So we're going to go into sort of a really in-depth look at how all of this helps eBay transform itself and get ready for the future, basically.
Ignore him. For more on eBay's booming business, I'm joined now by the man who is responsible for turning eBay into a global e-commerce platform and a leader in mobile payments as well. John Donahoe is the president and CEO of eBay. Under his leadership, eBay's revenue has grown from almost $9 billion in 2008 to over $15 billion today. Congratulations on that. This is a pretty busy time of year for you. Thanks for making time for us.
Well, we're happy to have you here and happy to host you at our Innovation Center.
So let's talk about Thanksgiving week. How did it go for eBay?
Oh, it was a very strong week. And what's changing is that it's never been a better time to be a consumer. Technology is changing how consumers are able to shop. So, for instance, it's no longer just around Black Friday. It's now, we call it the Cyber 5. It started on Thanksgiving Day, where people could start shopping, sitting on their couch, getting ready to eat turkey. They could start shopping on their smartphone or on their tablet or on their laptop. That continued throughout the holiday weekend. And for that 5-day period, we saw company-wide between eBay, PayPal, StubHub, and all of our properties, eBay Enterprise, we saw a 96% increase in mobile commerce volume.
That's incredible. I'm pretty happy because I got 50% of my shopping done. Are you done?
I'm not quite done, but I'm getting there.
You've been busy preparing for us. Now, going into this holiday period, you guys were a little nervous. You said you had a lot of angst about the e-commerce market decelerating growth. How do you feel now? Do you feel a bit more optimistic?
It feels we're cautiously optimistic. Okay. I can't comment anything during the quarter, but at that time also we didn't have a federal budget. We had a government shutdown. So I think as things have come into the fourth quarter, our hope is that consumers see there's great deals out there, great opportunities to get great gifts for their loved ones, and we're trying to make that as easy as possible for consumers.
So it was the biggest online shopping day ever on Cyber Monday, according to IBN. I believe shopping up 20% or so, but growth is still slowing down. That is the reality. One of your big strategies is connecting online and offline. Let's talk a little bit about connected glass. This is something cool that you're doing. You've tested it in New York. Now you're doing it in San Francisco. How's that going?
Well, what this is about, Emily, is just what you said, which is we used to think in terms of either you're shopping digitally or you're shopping in a store. And what mobile technology is enabling is that line to blur, so that you can have a seamless experience that has technology involved with it, but you can have choice around how you actually receive the item. And so what we started with Kate Spade Saturday in New York is on their storefronts putting literally a touch screen so that as people walked by, they could shop. and have it then delivered to them with eBay Now. And so we've extended that into the Westfield Mall here in the Bay Area, where we have these gigantic touchscreens where consumers, as they're walking by, can engage in a large touchscreen experience and then see what they want and either have it delivered to them, or, here's a great example, Sony has a store in the mall, and Sony has a touchscreen at another place in the mall. So a consumer can be shopping for it and decide if they want to go over into the Sony store and pick it up and buy it, or have it delivered to them later on at home.
And you guys have said this isn't just an experiment, this is going to scale. How fast do you plan to scale this?
Well, it's like anything, Emily. How we approach innovation, we are good at is consumer innovation, creating new experiences.
Right.
So just as with eBay Now, which is the ability to buy something on eBay from a number of different retailers and have it delivered to you in the moment, just like you bought some gloves today.
Right, I'm
it's so
waiting
cold,
for them.
and they're coming because you wanted them within an hour. You wanted them today. We started that in one city, and then we've rolled it out to 3, now to 5, and we'll go to 25 next year. On things like touchscreen and touch glass windows, we start in 1 or 2 regions, and then we'll slowly roll it out as we get the consumer experience right.
So what about the perception problem? A lot of people still think eBay is auctions, and you're much more than that, but that's what they still think.
Well, you know, the proof's in the pudding. 80%, 70 to 80% of our items are fixed price. You see more and more people coming to eBay. Our new active user growth has been accelerating all year long. So more and more consumers are coming to eBay. They like what they see.
Right.
They're telling their friends. And so, you know, perceptions take time to change, but the real experience is a great one, and we see consumers responding.
So what's the goal? Is the goal to be Amazon? Is the goal to be something different than Amazon?
Well, we're very different in that our focus is on enabling commerce.
Are we supposed to assume that anything that we want should be available on eBay?
Yes, anything you want, and including we're partnering with retailers all over the world, and we don't compete with them. So you can go on eBay today and you can get things from small eBay sellers in the United States, you can get things from eBay sellers all over the world, you can get things from retailers like Best Buy who are listing on eBay.
On eBay, through eBay, that I can't get on Amazon?
Oh, you can get goods for all over the world. You can go on today and get goods from 25%, 20 to 25%, depending on eBay or PayPal, of our transactions are cross-border. So anyone that sells on eBay can reach 130 million consumers all over the world, and the same thing's true from outside.
What about some of the other competition? Facebook is trying commerce, Twitter is in commerce, Pinterest referred a lot of traffic over the holidays to e-commerce sites. Do you think of them as competition? Do you think of them as referrals?
Well, not at all. I mean, as I said earlier, there's never been a better time to be a consumer. And technology is changing the options consumers have and how they can shop and their choices. And so our focus is on commerce. What we are really good at is connecting a buyer and seller to do a successful transaction safely and reliably. And so that's our piece of the pie, and we think that's a growing piece of the pie. It's growing from a $1 trillion market to a $10 trillion market. So we think there's plenty of opportunity for us to be very successful and others as well.
All right, well, we're going to talk a little bit more about payments after this quick break. John Donahoe, the CEO of eBay, we're going to hear more from him in just a moment. As I mentioned earlier, Amazon may be working on delivery by drone, but eBay can already get you your packages in just 1 hour, something Amazon doesn't offer. That is next, right here on this special edition of Bloomberg West.
Menguak kisah bisnis kelas menengah di Amerika, mengintip strategi jitu yang mampu meraup jutaan dolar. School Candy, perlengkapan audio yang mampu mendobrak pasar dunia hanya dalam waktu 3 bulan.
I will say that there actually was one moment when I thought, man, this might work.
Simak bagaimana Rick Alden dan Jeremy Andrus mengembangkan bisnisnya. Enterprise, Kamis pukul 6:30 malam di Bloomberg TV Indonesia.
Selalu ada sederet peristiwa sepanjang hari. Namun tak semua peristiwa layak jadi berita. Line Up menghadirkan peristiwa bernilai berita dengan perspektif ekonomi untuk Anda. Kami hadirkan berita-berita terpilih dari sederet peristiwa sejak pagi hingga petang. Bersama Line Up, Anda tak lagi takut ketinggalan berita.
Perkembangan teknologi terkini.
Selain informasi pilihan, Tekno pun menyajikan rangkuman berita korporasi seputar teknologi.
Informasi gadget-gadget terbaru.
Apple kembali melakukan inovasi dengan menanamkan prosesor terbaru A7.
Beragam inovasi digital di dunia.
Teknologi selalu mengimbangi kebutuhan manusia, termasuk kebutuhan untuk berinteraksi.
Disajikan spesial untuk Anda pecinta teknologi. Tech Now, hanya di Bloomberg TV Indonesia. Setiap hari, waktu terasa cepat, data bergerak, fakta akurat. Kami menyajikan berita terpilih, merangkai fakta jadi berita, mengolah data jadi bermakna. Ekonomi, pahami hari ini untuk menentukan langkah bisnis esok hari.
Welcome back to a Bloomberg West special inside eBay. We are broadcasting live from eBay's headquarters in San Jose. I'm Emily Chang. Well, in the world of same-day delivery, time is money, and eBay has an advantage over its competition. eBay Now promises same-day delivery in an hour, something Amazon and Google don't offer. We are going to tag along with an eBay Now courier a bit later in the show, but first I want to bring back Don Jonaho, the president and CEO of eBay, and I'm waiting for my gloves to be delivered by my eBay Now valet, who's been very polite. She called me to welcome me to the service. She's been telling me, her progress. I know she's en route now, and she's already found my gloves. But let's talk a little bit about eBay Now and how well it's going so far. Can you give me any numbers?
No, we're not publishing any numbers on it, but what we've done this year is in 3 cities, we've partnered with retailers so that when you have a situation that you want something, like today, you want those gloves, and you don't want to wait till later this afternoon and pick them up in a store or have them delivered to you tomorrow. You want them now. As you saw, you just go on eBay Now, you order the gloves, and the courier will have them to you within an hour.
So why not tell us more about actually how it's going? I know when I downloaded the app, there were only a few reviews. Why not?
Well, we're building the consumer experience. And, when you're building an entirely new experience, you've got to get the experience right. And so the consumers that are using it like it a lot. Evidence that we think it's successful is that we've expanded it from 1 market to 3 to 5. And then, as we were just talking during the break, we just bought a company called Shuttle, which will help us expand to 25 cities across the U.S.
Now, Amazon made a lot of headlines a few days ago talking about delivery by drone. They're working on octocopters. Are you going to show me an octocopter today? I was sort of hoping I'd see one.
No, we're not really focusing on long-term fantasies. We're focusing on things that will change consumers' experience today.
So you think it's a long-term fantasy?
We'll see.
Other companies are also experimenting with delivery. Google has a shopping service. There are upstarts like Postmates, Instacart. Do you think how do you have an edge on that?
What we have is we have 130 million active consumers that come to eBay intending to shop. We have PayPal, which makes payments easy and safe. So we start with an enormous advantage of an ecosystem and a willingness to partner with retailers, not compete. And so, there'll be a lot of people trying a lot of different innovations. Our focus is on delivering a great experience to consumers, both here in the U.S. and around the world.
So, speaking of drones and Google's moonshots, they've just acquired a lot of robotics companies. Do you think moonshots are important? Is it important to have a moonshot mentality and to work on or be thinking about far-reaching ideas?
Well, I think bold innovation is important. But our focus on our bold innovation is around commerce. So the notion of making a storefront window a touchscreen, I'd call that a bold innovation. The notion of saying you can get a product delivered to you within an hour, I'd call that a bold innovation. 5 years ago, what we were doing in mobile was considered a bold innovation. Today, we'll do $20 billion of mobile commerce volume this year, $20 billion of mobile payments volume. So by having those moonshots be really focused in our area of competence, they can grow to be important businesses over time.
Now, PayPal is now 42% of the revenue that you guys are bringing in. When's it going to become the majority?
Well, you can just do the math. It's only a couple years out. And what's great about PayPal is PayPal can serve the entire commerce market. And what PayPal's doing is PayPal's making payments safe and easy. We've always done that online. We're the clear leader in online payments. We're now the clear leader in mobile payments. And now PayPal's getting pulled into the offline world.
Right.
And the reality, Emily, is people like to shop. No one wants to really pay. And PayPal's making it easy to shop and making the payments just a frictionless experience.
So you guys also bought Braintree, $800 million acquisition, pretty big acquisition. What's the strategy going to be for next year? Is it going to be more small tuck-in acquisitions, or is it going to be bigger bets like that?
The Braintree acquisition is a great example of what we were just talking about. Braintree initially powered Uber. You think about ordering an Uber. You're shopping, you're not really paying. And Braintree powers many of the sharing economy, mobile-first business models that are being developed, and we'll continue to grow in those. And we're bringing the same principles to the offline world. So Beacon, which is what we announced, allows me that I came in this morning and I went into the Starbucks here in our lobby. I walked in, I had my mobile phone in my pocket. I didn't pull it out. I don't have carry a wallet anymore. And it recognized that I walked into the Starbucks, and when I got to the front of the line, the barista had my name and picture on the cash register and said, "John, would you like the usual?" And payments was out of the equation. She pressed, when I bought it, she pressed click, and I got a text from my on my mobile device.
And we're going to be talking with David Marcus, the president of PayPal, later in the show. What about China? Alibaba just processed $5.7 billion in sales on a single day, on Singles Day in China. You guys have a limited partnership in China. How do you get in on that action?
Well, we have a strong export business in China. So we enable Chinese sellers to reach consumers all over the world. So, and this year we'll do $6 to $7 billion of volume of Chinese sellers selling on eBay around the world and using PayPal to reach consumers all over the world. So we have a strong presence in China, but it's just a cross-border presence. We're not currently competing in the domestic market, and we'll continue to look at that over the next, it's early days in China. We'll look at that over the next many years.
Now, I want to ask you a little bit about leaning in, because Sheryl Sandberg wrote about you in her book, and you've actually been pretty vocal about how you and your wife, who is a working career woman, have balanced work and family. You've done a lot to try to elevate women here at eBay. Any advice for working dads on how they can help women lean in?
Well, I just think, in my case, my marriage is a partnership. And you could argue that actually my wife's my boss. But, we worked hard to sort of balance dual careers and raise a family. And for me, this issue when I come to eBay is one of just competing and winning. Because if we're going to be successful, we have to have the very best people. And by definition, half the people in the world are women, and so we need to have the very best women and men and have a diverse team that can lead to the best possible decisions and best possible execution. So I think it's a matter of good business, and that extends back to the family. It's also a matter of being, in my case, a good husband.
That's really good, and good to hear for myself as a working mom as well. John Donahoe, CEO of eBay, thanks so much for joining us today, and thanks for having us here.
Emily,
it's
we're
really
thrilled
great
to have you here.
Okay, thank you. Well, when top tech companies try to attract new talent, free perks are often a way to persuade potential workers. But the culture of eBay may have some asking, where's all the free stuff? More on that next. But first, our John Ehrlichman has been checking this place out. Take a look.
Well, among the many interesting things you'll find here at eBay headquarters, an 11 by 11 wall of Pez dispensers. As the story goes, the eBay founder, Pierre Midyar, his wife, was a Pez dispenser collector, and that played a bit of a role in the creation of the company. Me, I'm partial to the Chewbacca Pez dispenser. Attaboy, Chewie.
Ini tentang ekspresi dalam karya seni.
Ornamen itu membuat satu provokasi.
Tidak membatasi medium apapun.
Karyanya itu ada kedalaman.
Tentang eksistensi dan apresiasi.
Dia itu terpilih di Guggenheim New York.
But also important in the markets.
Tentang nilai, potensi dan kontribusinya dalam industri.
Kualitas dari seniman itu sendiri yang akan mempengaruhi harganya.
Luxury crime, artinya sangat dalam.
Art Life, Rabu jam 7:30 malam di Bloomberg TV Indonesia.
Modalnya waktu itu satu komputer.
Sampingan, awal itu sampingan. Let's do it anyway.
Modal nekat juga ya sebagian ya.
Dari Jepang ditugaskan untuk mengembangkan 3D model.
Ini kita produksi juga komik Star Trek.
Kita langsung jadi top application, we hit into something.
Dalam waktu 2 bulan, 1 juta.
Transaksi yang berhasil itu sekitar 1,5 juta.
Startup, Senin pukul 9:30 malam di Bloomberg TV Indonesia.
Tingkat omset bisnis retail diproyeksi mencapai Rp45 triliun. Setelah sempat menguat di awal bulan, harga emas di pasar ini nilai tukar rupiah sempat berfluktuasi bulan Juni lalu dan masih sebesar $325 juta per kapita. masih selain dampak asuransi otoritas jasa keuangan tiap yang optimistis masih bisa menjaga rupiah tetap di bawah level $10.000.
Zona Bisnis di Bloomberg TV Indonesia. Ini tentang ekspresi dalam karya seni.
Ornamen itu membuat satu provokasi.
Tidak membatasi medium apapun.
Karyanya itu ada kedalaman.
Tentang eksistensi dan apresiasi.
Dia itu terpilih di Guggenheim New York.
But also important in the markets.
Tentang nilai, potensi dan kontribusinya dalam industri.
Kualitas dari seniman itu sendiri yang akan mempengaruhi harganya.
Luxury cry, artinya sangat dalam.
Art Live, Rabu jam 7:30 malam di Bloomberg TV Indonesia.
And for a place where there's technically no shopping, it's pretty busy here. They get usually a couple of partners a day, 15 to 20 a week.
And, you know, PayPal may very well be the best bet, the best acquisition that eBay ever made. I want to head out to our editor-at-large, Corey Johnson, who is standing by with PayPal President David Marcus. Corey?
Yeah, Emily, this PayPal business is just fascinating and growing like a weed. In fact, the building we're in right now was once mostly eBay. I remember the first time I was here was probably 10 years ago or so, and no more. PayPal really dominates. David Marcus is the president of PayPal and joins me right now. David, how many of the employees in this area are PayPal versus eBay?
So there are two campuses, and this is mainly the PayPal campus, and then there's the other campus, which is the eBay Marketplaces campus.
And you just told me during the break, how many people work for PayPal now?
About 13,000.
13,000. That's simply incredible. The business is growing on a revenue basis, really growing strongly. And I wonder, you know, what is it you think that's really changed about PayPal? Because when eBay acquired PayPal, a little-known secret, the business was losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year. It looked as much as a competitive purchase as just to keep someone else from acquiring it. But now as a standalone business, it looks like it's doing really quite well and growing at double digits still.
Yes. Well, e-commerce is growing. More people are buying on mobile, are paying on mobile. And, as a matter of fact, during the shopping season this year, both Black Friday and Cyber Monday, over 90% more consumers used PayPal to buy things than last year.
No, I saw those numbers. I couldn't believe it. This holiday season, I think it was 91% more sales on Thanksgiving, 99% more on Black Friday. That's incredible growth for days that are already probably really busy. Why is that happening now, and what are you learning about this year's holiday shopping?
Well, people don't want to be in busy stores and wait in line, and they prefer buying online and on mobile, and especially mobile is growing like crazy.
Can you tweeze, because your growth is so great, can you tweeze out of those results what's going on in the underlying economy, or your growth is just too big for you to really see that?
No, we can see it. And, in Europe this year, we saw that the economy was slowing down, and, we had to compensate. And, generally the team really fights when those things happen to try to compensate for, the macro.
What do you mean try to compensate?
Try to compensate by, being more aggressive and getting more merchants and doing more promotions with merchants to get, more share of their checkout volume. And so that when we have macro events, that the team tried to compensate.
And in the U.S., what are you seeing? I mean, again, with 99% year-over-year growth, it's hard to see anything in a micro level. But what are you seeing in terms of the economic environment in the U.S.?
Well, this quarter actually was slow to start, right? Because, if you look at the holiday shopping
really
season,
late,
exactly, the holiday was pushed late. But other than that, I think things are actually looking better and better.
You guys have done so many acquisitions in PayPal and launched so many new products as well. Talk to me about Beacon. John Dono was just very excitedly showing me this Beacon. How do you describe Beacon?
Well, we want to change how people shop and buy things in stores, right? And people love shopping, but they hate paying.
Yes. And that's not just because I'm cheap that I'm like that?
No, it's not. It's everybody is like that, and we just want to remove that friction, make it completely invisible to pay, and I think with Beacon we did that, because you can actually get into a coffee shop like you did earlier today, and you just walk in and your phone vibrates in your pocket, so you know that you're checked in, your photo appears on the point of sale system, and you pay completely hands-free.
And you're not requiring the merchant to go to new cash registers. They can actually
Correct.
use the devices they're using right now.
Correct. We have over 30 different point-of-sale systems that have integrated PayPal check-in, and that enables any retail store or coffee shop or restaurant to enable that if they have one of these 30 systems.
So I know you've got these 30 systems. I know you've got some big merchant partners, but how many point-of-sale locations are you in?
So in the U.S. now, we have over 100,000 locations, right? And I don't want to make it specific, but we have...
You can if you want.
No, I can't. But
no, it's a fair disclosure. You can do so.
Yes, but it's hundreds of thousands of locations in Australia. It's tens of thousands of locations already. Lots of restaurants where you can pay at table, and that's great because you don't have to wait for your waiter any longer.
I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, are there still innovations to be done? Why should you pay online? Like, I think of the experience in an Apple store where you talk to a salesperson in the aisle, you make the purchase and leave. You don't go to the cash register. You don't wait in line. Are you looking at those kinds of innovations still, or are you there already?
No, I mean, we're there already, but now we have to scale those experiences. So we're not in enough locations, and that's what 2014 is all going to be about, just scaling those experiences.
Well, to that point, you know, I was talking to a lot of people about talking to you today, and one of the things I heard back from a number of people was that there didn't seem to be a great consumer awareness of these PayPal point of sale. Are you going to launch a consumer-facing marketing campaign for PayPal? They've done it for eBay for years, but for PayPal.
Yes.
When?
This year, 2014, and you know, we just needed to have enough of these experiences out there. And 2013 for us has been a year where we reinvented all of our existing products and at the same time innovated. So now we have a lot of new products and a lot of new experiences that we need to push out there. And 2014 is going to be the year where we're going to invest and show consumers how to use it.
You guys just did a very expensive acquisition of a company called Braintree. When you acquire a company, the choice is either build it or buy it. What did they have that you felt you couldn't build in time?
So, you know, we need to be the payments OS. PayPal needs to be the payments OS. Anyone, any disruptor, any builder that wants to build something completely new that involves payments, whether it's companies like Uber or Airbnb or others, they need to be on top of PayPal.
And Uber uses Braintree to process payments, for example.
Yes, now both of us. So you know, both Braintree and PayPal. So 100% of the transactions that are processed on Uber now go to PayPal.
Now, growth rates, for as good as they've been for eBay or for PayPal, have been slowing down and really slowing down measurably. I mean, down I think 18% year over year in the last quarter. Does growth need to reaccelerate for you to hit your targets, say in 2015?
Well, you know, and it was 20%, but yes. So you know, we think that we still have a lot of growth ahead, right? Because mobile is growing fast. We're going to start seeing the benefits of all of our efforts around omni-channel, not in 14, but, you know, in 15, 16. And so we feel good that we can re-accelerate the revenues, you know.
So really, re-acceleration of growth, that's interesting. That'll be big numbers indeed. David Marcus runs PayPal here for eBay. Thank you very much. Interesting stuff from that company indeed, or that part of this great company. But up next, we're going to look at another part of this great company, eBay's ticket site. It's called StubHub, and how they're using big data to improve the fan experience. That's next on this special edition of Bloomberg West, Inside eBay.
Perkembangan teknologi tak pernah berhenti. Inovasi terjadi setiap hari. Ikuti berita dunia digital terkini untuk menciptakan bisnis bersinergi yang membentuk industri.
I'm Emily Chang. Our focus is on innovation, technology, and the future of business.
Bloomberg West, Senin sampai Jumat pukul 3 sore di Bloomberg TV Indonesia.
This is a coffee bean, grown in Indonesia. This is a ship, taking it to Italy. This is a franchise, selling espresso in Shanghai. This is a trader, reviewing the stock. And this is Bloomberg, delivering information to drive the world's critical decisions across markets, business, and economies. Offering deep insight to leading investors, traders, and decision makers. Award-winning journalists delivering global business and financial news. Serving leaders in law, government, new energy, and business. Across the enterprise, at the desktop, anywhere. All to help you see opportunity in every coffee bean.